Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. On the agenda tonight, we have the warning again because I had so many requests to look at these girls more up to date, more recently, because I did a video on them from a few years ago, and because they're so young, in a few years they've obviously moved on quite a lot. So we're going to be having a look at Dust to Dust, and this is live from last year, the end of last year, so pretty much bang up to date. So let's get the girls up on screen and see how they get on. I'm just going to jump in here because we're kind of halfway through the track, so we've got a good vibe of what's going on. And what I love about this track in particular is that these girls are kind of, well, they range from their now mid-teens to kind of later in their teens. And it couldn't be further from singing about boys and all the standard bands or teen bands that tend to always have their writing go in one direction because that's just of their, because of their age or their inexperience. And these girls, I mean, when you're listening to the lyrics, this is some really cool stuff going on, not to mention obviously that progressive nature, the way that we're not just playing a D, A and G here, we've got some really cool riffs going on here. And like I mentioned when I covered them in the first video, we've got that Mac that's set up again, so we've got those really subtle elements that are thickening out the guitar, like on that second verse where we've got the octaves of that riff that she's playing, and it just fills out the sound so well, and it gives such a great sound to their three-piece show. And I'm calling it a show because, again, these girls are absolutely all over it in terms of putting on a show. There's so much to be said for being technically great at your instrument, but also being able to put on a show, because that's often the one thing that a lot of technical players lack, is the ability to entertain whilst they're playing. And these girls have certainly got that. And just while we're looking at Paulina here, I just want to mention something about that lead vocal and being able to supply a lead vocal as a drummer, because people don't realize, it flies under the radar, what a physical activity playing the drums is, especially when you're going for it like Paulina is, because you've got to still have your breath control, you've still got to be able to hit the notes and concentrate on that. I always say when you sing and play guitar at the same time, it doubles the difficulty, whereas when you're playing guitar, generally you're not out of breath because you are tied to that mic. Whereas playing the drums is definitely an activity that can make you out of breath, especially when this kind of effort is being put in. So it's massively impressive just to have that lead vocal as a drummer when you're putting in so much effort. And that's one of those things I'll tell everyone to look out for. If there is a band that you like where the lead singer is a drummer, just have a little look at the amount of physical work they're getting through and still nailing their vocal. And the other massive advantage that they've got over other bands is that ability to sing in tune, but also sing in harmony with each other, because that means that they can go down so many different melodic avenues just by putting their voices together and really backing each other up. Talking about the writing, I'm watching this from their official YouTube channel, which is just The Warning. So check out their channel, go and subscribe to that. I mentioned in my first video, like myself, they are on Patreon, they are independent, so they're just using the support of people at home watching their videos in order to progress, and that's such a great way of doing it. And I know that with this track in particular, it says Audiam is the label, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but there's publishing as well, and it's great that they've got the copyrights and the publishing rights to their music, because it means when people show it on the internet, like with this video that I'm showing you now, if this video had an advert at the beginning of it, they are getting money for that advert. So just click on the video all the time. Obviously, go and watch this on their channel as well if you want to, because it's just all extra income in order to help them stay independent and just keep doing what they love to do and not have to be forced to write a particular way or start writing about boys and go down that avenue of trying to be really commercial. Let's check out the second half of the track. And there we have it. Me personally being a musician and a performer and having played live, I love listening to the details that are in there. We've got obviously the guitar, drums and bass, but the tiny little bits of clean picking that we can hear in that right channel just underneath, that rhythm play, and just such great riff work in there as well. And the way that that's put into the octaves as well, really to thicken out that sound. Like I said, they've absolutely got the live show down. These girls aren't naive at all when it comes to live performance and how to get the best sound live. And it's great to see that a girl band that just brings up so many bad images of like 4 girls standing on stage singing to a backing track, but you know what I mean. A real girl band playing live, playing the instruments and having these tiny little details in the background that are just embellishing what they're doing. And the main thing about it is that if the backing track didn't work, you've still got a solid band, a solid sound and a solid performance. I say a backing track, they're not reliant on it. That's the point. So many bands are reliant on the backing track, so when that goes wrong, you've got nothing. Whereas with these girls, all it is is a bit of embellishment on the sound. If it didn't work, it's no biggie because they can all sing, they can all play, and that's the great thing about them. But it's great to see that even though they're so young, they've got that technical mindset to think of how can we get the best sound live. And like I mentioned in the first video, that is absolutely all down to Paulina on drums playing to that click track. Obviously we can't hear the click track because she'll just have it in her ears, but being so solid throughout the whole track in order for all of those little elements that come in to be on time and to go into the right place. Imagine going out of time with your backing track. That means that that guy's voice, he'd start talking maybe in the chorus because you're a little, you're so out with the backing track. But they're so professional, so well done, so well rehearsed. And I know that they're very talented, but let's not underestimate the work ethic that goes into it, because every successful band and everybody who's successful in life has a work ethic, a solid work ethic, where they just keep on pushing forward. And that's exactly what these girls are doing behind the scenes. And the way that you can see it is in the live performance, because they have to be so exact, so precise to that backing track, but then having such a mastery of that performance that then they can put on a show means there's a hell of a lot of hours that have gone into this performance and just this song, let alone the whole set. I'm going to say again, head over to patreon.com/The Warning, because that's their Patreon page. And I was actually lucky enough to have a few patrons of theirs hop over onto my Patreon, which is great, and thank you if you did that. But check these girls out, because if you want to, you can actually support them. And so many people, I think, have fallen out of love with music because of the industry side of it and the business side of it. So if you do like to support independent bands and up and coming talent, just head over to that page. I'm actually going to put the link to their Patreon in my description, so you can just click on that and head over there if you actually want to get involved with this grassroots music, I'd call it, just independent music, just girls writing, doing and performing music exactly how they want to. And then maybe one day in the future the chart will be full of independent bands, and the ones that are signed to labels might fall by the wayside. But it's great to have a look at a more recent performance, and I wanted to do this video relatively close to when I did the other video, so that when I do make a playlist of my videos, they'll at least be close so people can see that progression from kind of a few years ago to now. But I hope that this video gets through on the copyrights and that there is an advert at the beginning, because it will just generate a little bit more income for the girls. And like I said, the link to their Patreon is going to be in my description below. I'll also put the link to my other video that I did on them, so if you want to have a look at a few years ago when they're performing, just to see how far they've come, then I'll include that as well. But thank you so much for suggesting this video for me to take a look at. There were a lot of you that did suggest it, so thank you. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Bro.